Hey there, Jen Schow here to show you a project using the July 2018 Stories by the Month kit. This is a physical kit that comes with 4x6 cards that I'm showing you here. It comes with 3x4 cards, a chipboard set, and a small stamp set. It's really inexpensive. You can get on the wait list now and for next month if you want to join this kit subscription, and it's kind of themed for each month. It's a little bit more thematic as far as like July being the 4th of July and summer and stuff like that. This has a lot of vacation-y kind of things in it, and so I am going to use a photo of me and my friend CJ when we went to Oregon last year. Actually, when I went for story camp, she came along with me and we went out to the Oregon coast for a few days after story camp. So I'm planning to use the circles in this kit as well as that 4x6 card you see there. I don't know what I want my background to be, but I do know I want to split this 4x6 card up. The top part will go above the photo and the bottom part below the photo. So now I've got like a nice block of where my photo and journaling is going to go. And I try out a bunch of different pattern papers for my background. I've been trying to use pattern papers lately for backgrounds just because I have so many of them. But I will end up switching this out. And I'm just trying to decide what kinds of pieces I want to use for this. I have been really loving using circles. It's circle, circles, circles all the way for me lately, especially with these kits. I love punching circles out of the cards. And so I get my Big Shot machine out and some dies that I have from big picture classes. And I am just die cutting some circles, and I cut the Rest and Relax out of a 3x4 card. And then I will use some other circles in here as well. At this point, I'm thinking I do like this striped background, but I don't want the heart. And so I thought about just covering it up and using it. And I do like it, but I don't know, I kept changing my mind. I just could not decide what I wanted. So I'm looking through my pattern papers now, trying to see if I can find something that I will like more. I find a pattern paper from Crate Paper that has circles all over the background, and I kind of like the way this one looks. It has that blue in it. It has circles all over the background, but in the end I decide that there's too many circles now. And I don't know, I'm not feeling it. So I do think it could have worked, but I don't end up using it. So here I am grabbing some Ali Edwards ink in Columbia. This is my favorite color. It's like a light bluish color, and I love it. And I stamped, from the stamp set, I stamped the one that says Field Notes, and I'm going to I punch it out with my 1-inch circle punch, and there's a slight border around it. And I actually I stamped it a few times. I stamped it and punched it with my pinked circle punch and with a regular circle punch. I decided to go with just a regular circle because nothing else had a pinked edge, and so I just decided against it. So I'm still struggling with what I'm going to use for the background. I found some paper that had some text on it, which I thought might look nice. And then I thought maybe I just need some plain cardstock. I really liked this one, but that blue at the top of the journaling card that I cut off, it just didn't stand out enough. And so I grabbed some craft paper, and this is what really works for me. Right away, I love it. I don't often use Kraft anymore, but I do really like the way it looks, especially here. I think Kraft is a nice color with all the blues. Feels very oceany, very beachy, obviously. And so I'm going to go ahead with that, and I'm popping up that circle that I die cut out of the 3x4 card on some fun foam. And the chipboard piece is kind of a similar color of blue, and then I've got my blue piece that I cut out and stamped. So I'm playing around a little bit more here and trying to figure out another way that I can add some more circles. I really love that circle that says Best Times, and that's from the chipboard set as well. And I think about nestling that in with the Rest and Relax and then bringing in some other colors, but I kind of wanted to go monochromatic here, so I'm gonna stick mostly to the blues, even though I think that I could have made it work with those other colors. I decide against it. And I'm going to move everything around here because I like the way that Best Times fits above Rest and Relax when I have it on the left-hand side of the photo. So at this point, I'm stamping with some white ink on the side of the paper, and it's not very noticeable. I stamped, I can't remember what that stamp even says now, but then I stamp over it with some gray ink, and I'm just not digging it. I just wanted to do kind of like a tone on tone background pattern here, and it just doesn't work out. I do not like the way this looks at all, but I just go ahead with it for a minute. I know I want to do some sort of stamping on my Kraft cardstock, and that's why I started with the white. I love the way white looks on top of Kraft, but it just wasn't enough of a pop at first. And so I'm going to pull this apart, and I'm just going to flip my paper so that I can use the same paper, and it's just going to get covered by my photo and my journaling. And so at this point I'm thinking, okay, I still want to stamp something, but what's going to work? I choose a different white ink that's going to stand out a little bit more against the background paper, and I stamp something, and it's very, very subtle. It's very I don't know, it's hard to see, but in real life you can see it, and it gives just enough of something extra. And so I'm just going to stamp this over and over along the edges, and I think it says Bon Voyage. I didn't really care what it said, honestly, because it's more just for a visual look, and it's not really adding to the story, even though it does work with it because it's a vacation. And sorry for my head there, you can see my curly craziness. But yeah, I'm just stamping it over and over on the sides of the photo, and I like the way this looks. It's just very simple, very subtle. Just gives a little bit of a detail, and you can see that there. You'll see it in the close-up photos at the end too. You can see it a little bit better. So here I'm going to arrange my circles again, and I do like the way the best times circle looks up there. I'm trying to decide where exactly I want to put those other circles. Now, I decided to cut the border off of the edge of the stamped piece because it was the same size as the chipboard piece, and I wanted it to be smaller than it. I wanted there to be 3 different sizes of circles, so I just cut it up a little bit. And now I'm going to go ahead and adhere this Rest and Relax circle up at the top. So you can see that I'm bouncing back and forth with my circles. I've got top left, then the middle right, and then kind of the center bottom. And I really like the way that draws your eye around the photo. And circles are a great way to bring, draw your eye around, I guess. So here I'm just using a black pen and writing my journaling, and this is a nice prompt that just says I want to remember, and it says it over and over. And so I just wrote down some of the details about this moment that I wanted to remember, and Rest and Relax was a perfect sentiment for this. In this particular moment, my friend and I were just sitting on the rocks overlooking the beach and just in quiet silence, and it wasn't awkward, and it was just really nice, and we were just thinking and enjoying and appreciating the beauty and trying to just enjoy ourselves, and it was perfect. So I just wanted to remember those little details of the moment. I'm taking a white colored pencil. This is a Prismacolor white colored pencil, and just drawing a border around the outside. I often use a white pen to do this, but I liked the softness that the pencil gave, and it kind of matched the softness of the stamping, the white stamping. And then I also found in my stash of Ali Edwards stuff from past story kits and things, some circles that I thought might be fun to include. And so these circles are from the Lost and Found story kit, and they have a lot to do with exploring, and the whole Lost and Found kit had kind of a vacation-y vibe in my eyes. And so I really liked adding them in here. So I'm going to include some of these round circles. And round circles, of course they're round in circles. Some of these circular pieces, I really like the way that the one curves around the chipboard piece on the right hand side of the photo. And then, so now I'm gonna kind of have my embellishments going in a diagonal from top left to bottom right. And at this point I decide Rest and Relax isn't going to be my main title. I'll put something else at the bottom. And so I'm looking through my Ali Edwards stickers and chipboard sheets and different embellishments from past kits to see what else I might want to add in here. And I found the puffy stickers from the Lost and Found story kit, and I'm going to include a couple of those, and they're in blue shades as well, so I'm just using different shades of blue, keeping it monochromatic. And then I found some words that are from, I can't remember what they're from, but they're from different story kits, from past story kits, and I'm going to ink them up with white ink, and then I'm going to pour white embossing powder on top of it and heat set these so that I have a nice like white glossy finish on my words. That one that says memory is thin, and so it was pretty delicate, so I was just trying to be really careful with it. And so my title would be This Good Memory, and I thought that that was fitting because the journaling all says I want to remember, and so this was a really good memory, and I wanted to remember the details of it, and I just liked the sentiment and the way that these words fit together. So again, I'm just putting some white Kraft ink on the wood piece, and then for these smaller words I'm just kind of dipping them into the embossing powder and coating them with that sticky powder, and then I'll heat set them with my heat gun and that will melt the embossing powder and make it nice and shiny and smooth and pretty and white. So I really like that, and I think you get a nicer look with white specifically if you can if you use white ink as well. You can use Versamark ink, which is a clear sticky ink, but I think with white I like to use white embossing powder because if you miss any spots, it's covered up by the white ink. So I'm just kind of trying to arrange this in a way that looks pleasing and that I can add in a few more circles here. And I'm just going to use some Scotch Quick Dry adhesive in a fine line bottle to glue these words down. I like having that fine applicator tip to get in these tiny little lines of these words, and it sticks nicely as well. So I'm trying to play around with this good. They're pretty much the same length, the words, and I kind of wish that they weren't, that good was, I mean, good is a little bit longer, but I'm just trying to find a way that I can nestle that geotag circle in there. So I'm looking through all of my chipboard pieces from past Ellie Edwards kits and story kits and stories by the month kits, just to see if there's any other blue circles that I might want to include on this layout, but I don't find anything there. I did find some other things that didn't quite work, that I kept trying to decide if I was going to bring in another color or not. I really kind of wanted to bring in another one of these puffy stickers because I had 2 of them and I like to do things in triplicate, but I didn't end up adding a third epoxy, or not epoxy, puffy sticker. My brain isn't working today, I'm sorry. I did for a minute add in a gray round sticker, but then I just decided it wasn't quite working for me, so I'll pull that off. This is just, I have a little iris container that I keep past Ellie Edwards embellishments in, like all of those words and different chipboard pieces and different embellishments from past kits, and so I'm just kind of flipping through that to see if there's anything I want to add. In the end, I decided to just stamp another thing. This is actually a stamp set from a Studio Calico kit that I recently received, and it's a little globe. So I'm just stamping the globe in white, and I'm going to emboss it on a piece of scratch paper and punch it out so that I have something else embossed and something else stamped, and I think it turns out really well. That's going to finish off my top cluster. I'll just punch that out, and there it will live. And so I like the way that looks, and I'm going to just glue it right down, and I will add the date on here, and I don't think I show that in the video, but I do add some white splatters, and that is going to finish it off. So here are some close-up photos. I hope that you've enjoyed. If you have any questions, be sure to leave a comment below, and I will link to all available products in the video description. Again, don't forget to get on the waiting list for this subscription if you're interested. You should be able to join next month. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you again soon.